Please stop hoping Kent will come back for family events. Today is my younger brother's wedding, and his fiancée, Grace, has just confronted me in front of everyone. Her voice was so loud that the entire room heard it. It felt like a sharp knife cutting through me. I was happy for my brother, but now, I'm standing here feeling humiliated in front of my family. Her words hit me deeply, leaving a pain that spread through my chest and body. The cheerful atmosphere of the celebration seemed to disappear, replaced by a heavy, uncomfortable silence. I wondered if I was the only one feeling this way or if the other guests were now judging me too. It felt like their cold stares were piercing through me, silently agreeing that I didn't belong. You shouldn't be here, you don't really fit in, Sarah, Grace said sharply. Her eyes made it clear, she thought I was a burden, someone with no place at this wedding or in their lives. I wanted to speak up, to defend myself, but the words got stuck in my throat. Anger, sadness, and frustration swirled inside me, too much to handle. My chest felt tight, and my legs started to shake. As much as I wanted to deny it, her words made me question myself. Had I relied too much on Kent over the years? Without realizing it, had I become a burden to him and his fiancée? Maybe I was causing problems between them, but even if that were true, did she have to say it like this? Grace's words weren't meant to help, they were meant to hurt. I understand, I finally said, my voice sounding strange and weak, as if it belonged to someone else. That was all I could manage to say. I stood up slowly, trying to keep my composure. I wanted to stay and watch the ceremony, but I couldn't. The thought of ruining Kent's special day with my presence was too painful to bear, so I quietly left, holding back the storm of emotions inside me. I took a step toward the door, feeling like I was walking away from my own life. Just as my hand touched the door handle, there was a loud crash behind me. I turned to see that a chair had fallen over. My name is Sarah, and I'm 32 years old. I often wonder how different my life would have been if that accident hadn't happened. Kent and I lost our parents when I was 11, and he was only 8. They were returning from a weekend trip when it happened. By the time we arrived at the hospital, it was too late, they were gone. Everything felt quiet and unreal, like the world had stopped. I barely remember anything from that day, except Kent's small, trembling hand holding mine. After that, we moved to a children's home. The staff were kind, and we made friends with the other kids, but no matter how comfortable things got, there was always an empty, aching feeling inside me. I wanted Kent to be happy, so I made a promise to myself, I wouldn't cry in front of him. I thought if he saw me cry, it would make him sad too. Being his big sister gave me a reason to stay strong. Instead of facing my own grief, I focused on taking care of him. When I turned 18, I had to leave the children's home. There were programs to help us with college, but I chose not to use them. I decided Kent should be the one to go to college. I started working during the day and attending vocational school at night to learn event planning. I had a small dream of starting my own business someday, but it felt far away. My main focus was Kent. I even took out loans to make sure he didn't have to worry about money. I wanted him to have a good education, and I didn't want finances to hold him back, even though I knew a scholarship could help. While I worked, Kent focused on his studies. Seeing how hard he worked inspired me to keep supporting him in any way I could. Kent didn't disappoint me. He graduated from college and got a job at a big company. When I heard the news, I couldn't stop crying. All those years of hard work and debt were finally worth it. Every struggle had meaning because it helped him succeed. After starting his job, Kent began sending me $1,500 every month. I wanted to tell him to keep the money for himself, but his message stopped me. Sis, you did everything for me. Not giving something back would feel wrong. Please accept this. Reading those words, I cried again. It touched me deeply that he recognized my sacrifices. At the same time, I felt strongly that I couldn't keep depending on him. So, I quietly saved the money, hoping to return it to him someday if he ever needed help. Using the skills I had learned in school, I started a small event planning business. At first, I worked alone, but as the business grew, I became busier. Kent even started helping me on weekends, despite his demanding job. One day, Kent told me he was dating someone, Grace. She worked at a company that partnered with his. He seemed so excited, and seeing his happiness made me truly happy for him. A year later, Kent told me he was planning to marry her. We were walking home after dinner when he shared the news. I felt a strange weight settle in my chest. I wanted Kent to be happy, but deep down, there was an odd pang. Was it loneliness? Or maybe the fear of losing him? I smiled and congratulated him, but inside, my emotions were mixed. Grace seemed like a good person. She made Kent happy, and when we met, she was polite and kind, but her smiles sometimes felt distant. That feeling became clearer during a pre-wedding dinner with Grace's family. We met at a fancy Japanese restaurant, and her parents seemed sophisticated, but there was something subtly dismissive about them. "Kay, you've come so far growing up in a children's home, I mean, how admirable." Her words sounded harmless, but they stung. Her tone was friendly, but her eyes felt judgmental. Kent answered politely, saying, "I wouldn't have come this far without my sister." His voice was tense, though. Kent usually spoke proudly about our past, but here, it seemed like he was holding back. I wanted to say something, but I didn't want to ruin Kent's moment. After dinner, he told me not to worry, but his reassurance only made the pain sharper. I could see he was hurt, too. Still, he was trying his best to make things work. I reminded myself that his happiness mattered most. As the wedding planning continued, I tried to connect with Grace. We spent time together picking out dresses and reviewing the guest list. She was always polite, but there was still a coldness about her. Then one day, her question hit me like a stone. "Is Kent still sending you money?" "Honestly, I think it's a bit much. Now that we're getting married, our finances should come first." I was speechless. I knew she wasn't entirely wrong, but she didn't understand. To Kent, that money wasn't just repayment, it was a symbol of everything we had built together. Still, I realized she had a point. Maybe it was time to let Kent focus on his new family. That night, I decided to talk to him. "Grace doesn't seem too happy about the money, does she?" I asked. "I figured she'd bring it up," Kent said, looking resigned but determined. "Maybe it's time to stop. You have a family to focus on now," I said, even though my heart ached as I said it. As I told Kent to stop sending me money, he replied firmly, "I'm not stopping. Sarah, you've done so much for me. I can't just quit now." His words brought tears to my eyes, but I didn't let him see them. "All right, Kent, I understand," I said softly. I knew that forcing him to stop would only make him more determined. For now, I would let him make his own choice. The wedding day finally arrived, and I did everything I could to support their happiness. Kent's joy was all I had ever wanted, but deep down, I still felt uneasy. Would Grace truly support him the way he needed? The ceremony went smoothly, and as I watched Kent smile, I felt a wave of relief. It gave me peace, knowing that all my sacrifices had been worth it. But during the reception, something unexpected happened. Grace turned to me and said, "Please stop coming to visit Kent." Her words hit me like a knife to the heart. The room fell silent, and I felt everyone's eyes on me. I stood frozen, unable to respond, as my face turned pale and my heart sank. Grace's sharp gaze seemed to say I didn't belong here. I wanted to say something, but the words wouldn't come. My throat tightened with a mix of anger, sadness, and humiliation. Finally, I managed to whisper the only thing I could. "I understand." My voice sounded distant and unfamiliar. I struggled to keep my composure and turned to leave quietly, not wanting to cause a bigger scene, but just as I reached for the door, there was a loud crash. I turned around to see Kent standing, his face filled with anger. "Grace, do you even know what you just said?" he demanded. Grace looked shocked, but Kent didn't back down. His voice was low but filled with rage as he continued, "You don't know anything about what she's done for me. Without my sister, I wouldn't be here today. She sacrificed everything to make my dreams possible." The room was dead silent as his words rang out. No one dared to interrupt. "I send her money every month because it's the least I can do. It's not charity, it's respect and gratitude." Grace stood frozen, her face a mix of shock and fear. The guests began murmuring, and one by one, my family and friends started speaking up. "I've known Sarah my whole life. She's always put others before herself," someone said. Others nodded and added their own words, sharing how I had supported Kent through everything. The guests began voicing their support for me, reminding everyone how much I had done for the family. Grace's face turned pale as their words grew louder. Then one of Kent's colleagues spoke up. "Honestly, Grace can be difficult at work. She's known for her sharp tongue." Another colleague added, "It's true, she's often overly harsh and pushes others down." One by one, her colleagues revealed sides of Grace I hadn't known. With every confession, Grace's face grew even paler, realizing the respect she thought she had was slipping away. Suddenly, the doors opened, and a man walked in. He was impeccably dressed, with an air of quiet authority. "My apologies for being late," he said. Someone greeted him. "Mr. Jameson, welcome." Mr. Jameson was a senior manager from a major business partner of Grace's family. His presence immediately commanded attention. "Is something the matter here?" he asked, his tone calm but observant. Grace's father quickly replied, "Oh no, Mr. Jameson, just a family misunderstanding." Mr. Jameson glanced around and then turned to me. "You must be Sarah. I've heard impressive things about your event planning company." I was stunned. "Thank you, Mr. Jameson," I replied. Grace's father tried to interject. "Sarah is a foster home graduate. I'm sure we'll want to evaluate partnerships with that in mind." Mr. Jameson's face remained steady. "Actually, I grew up in foster care myself." The room fell silent. Grace's father turned pale. "I've always respected those who overcome adversity." Sarah's work reflects that spirit. "At our company, we choose partners based on merit, not background. Excluding someone due to their past would go against our values," Mr. Jameson said firmly. His words filled me with pride and gratitude. Kent's voice broke the silence. "Sarah has been a pillar of this family." Grace's words were out of line. Then, with finality, he added, "Our family deserves better. I can't marry someone who doesn't respect my family." Grace looked devastated but didn't protest. Kent walked over to me and hugged me tightly. "Thank you, Sarah, for everything." "Thank you, Kent. I'll always be here for you," I said, tears in my eyes. That moment marked a new beginning. Over time, my business grew with Mr. Jameson's support. I became known for my dedication and creativity in event planning. Kent eventually joined me as my business partner, helping us take on new challenges. "We've come so far, Sarah," Kent said one day. "We have, and I'm grateful for every step," I replied. Together, we built a life full of support, opportunities, and a stronger bond than ever before. Side by side, we moved forward, creating a brighter future.